Captain Kidd is absolutely merciless when it comes to civilians, and he will destroy anything that gets pulled into his path. So it's only perfect he has the Jiki no Mi. But today we're going to give it a grade ranging from A to F by evaluating the power that it gives you and the user of the fruit. Now first, it grants you the power of magnetism, so you're able to pull objects towards you like swords, cannonballs, and other metallic objects, which gives you the advantage of disarming your enemies. But you're also able to repel objects, so incoming enemies have to be constantly on guard, because attacks can come from anywhere. Now the second capability of this devil fruit is the ability to build complex machinery, like giant metal arms, giant robots, or giant guns. And this gives the user highly destructive power, and makes him capable of wiping out his enemies pretty quickly, especially if he catches them off guard. Also, you're capable of protecting yourself by embedding your body into your own machinery. And most people look over the fact that you're able to travel quickly using this devil fruit, because you can use your magnetism to pull yourself to a ship, or you can build yourself flying machinery and travel by air. Now the third ability is the Devil Fruit Awakening, which takes metal out of the equation and allows you to assign a magnetic polarity to people and objects. And this was used magnificently against Big Mom, who was left pinned to a wall after being pulled by its magnetism. But a devil fruit is only as good as its user, and even though Captain Kidd has a plethora of applications for the devil fruit, he is notoriously hot-headed and jumps into situations that he shouldn't be in. And he grossly underestimates almost everyone he goes up against, which in return puts his crew in danger. And I know some people will say that it's confidence, but in the world of One Piece, you have to be more strategic. So the grade I'm going to give this devil fruit is a C+, because even though it gives you high destructive power and a great counterattack, it just takes too long for all your attacks to build up, because you constantly have to drag around metal, be it on your ship or around town. And not to mention, it takes a while to build the complex machinery, so you're relying on your team to hold off people till you're done building. And to me, that's a big weakness, but I will say, it's a pretty cool fruit. Blackbeard is the evilest and most greedy pirate in One Piece, so him and the Yami no Mi are a match made in heaven, so it's only right we give it a grade. But like always, we evaluate the person using it and the fruit. Now family, this fruit is so powerful that he knocked off a close friend just to get his hands on it. And when you know the type of ability it grants, you'd understand why he did it. First, it allows the user to strip devil fruit users of their power, which as you know is the advantage that every major character has. Just look at Luffy, Ace, and countless others. So you will not be using any fire attack, ice attack, or teleportation against Blackbeard. And this has been on full display multiple times, which means he's going to be a tough opponent during the major war, and probably the reason why he might be the final villain. Now number 2 is the ability to pull your opponent towards you, almost like gravity control. And this is perfect if you're fighting a long distance enemy, because you could quickly close the gap by dragging their scared butt over and giving them a serious case of the beats. But that power can backfire if you bump into somebody with serious hockey, because some people like Garp would absolutely destroy you if you try to play the hand-to-hand combat game. And the third crazy ability is Black Hole, which absorbs everyone and anything into a vortex that is so dark and dangerous that once you're regurgitated, you and everything that got sucked in is heavily damaged and pretty much unable to fight. But the most wild part about it is the fact that Blackbeard is aware of Devil Fruit Awakenings, so these terrifying abilities could be magnified, which brings us to his calculated intelligence. And I think this is the crowning jewel of Blackbeard, because he complements his Devil Fruit. I mean, this guy has been moving through One Piece like a chessboard, and he is putting together a team of the most powerful Devil Fruit users that complement his style of fighting. And we didn't even mention the fact that he has the ability to steal someone's Devil Fruit power. Family, this guy is a walking nightmare, and that dark fruit is his partner in crime, so it's only right we give it a grade. And this one right here gets an A+, because it boosts your defense, attack power, and helps you become elusive, with a few hidden abilities that most people never see coming. So this right here is pure perfection and definitely a game changer. Jesus Burgess has an insanely powerful devil fruit called the Riki no Mi, also known as the Strong fruit. So we have to give it a grade, but first let's analyze it. Now family, this thing gives you superhuman strength to the point that you're capable of throwing a mountain at someone, which is absolutely insane for someone like Mr. Burgess. But the first time we see him, he was pursuing the Flare fruit, which was originally owned by Ace. But after failing to achieve that goal, he ended up having to fight Sabo, which showed us that he was more than capable of going hand to hand with somebody. And it also showed us that he was capable of using advanced levels of hockey. So this was no slouch to begin with. But this failed mission was a blessing in disguise, because when you stand as tall as he is and as muscular as he is, it's only right you get a devil fruit like the Strong, because now he can inflict maximum damage whenever he gets into a major battle. And you can already tell by the way Blackbeard is utilizing him that he's going to play a pivotal role in the final war. But the biggest surprise is the fact that he is now the captain of the first ship in Blackbeard's fleet, which means his captain has a lot of faith in him, because that is the frontline fighters. But I will say that there are some bad matchups for him, because he is a hand-to-hand fighter. So going up against someone like Zoro would be a nightmare, because no matter how strong you are, a quick slash can take that arm away, and no amount of hockey will be able to protect you. So if I was going to take a guess on what Blackbeard would do, I'd say that he would match him up with Frankie or Jinbei. But if we really get a wild scenario like Shanks and the Blackbeard pirates clashing, I can see him causing a lot more damage than people would expect. I mean, can you imagine him throwing an entire warship at Shanks? It would be chaos on a scale that we haven't seen before, especially if he figures out a way to trigger a Devil Fruit awakening, like Luffy and Lucci did. But with all that said, we have to give it a grade. So I'm giving it a C+, because it gives you exceptional power but lacks in versatility like some of the other Devil Fruits. So you might find yourself in too many dangerous predicaments, and that is definitely not something I want to be in. Law is virtually unbeatable to most people, and his ability will leave you brutally beaten or even worse. And it's all thanks to his Devil Fruit, the Opi no Mi. So it's only right we give it a grade. And the way we do that is by evaluating what it does and the type of user. Now first, this Devil Fruit allows you to create a bubble around yourself and others, which is sometimes referred to as a room. And within it, you can manipulate people and objects. So you're able to treat it like a surgery room. And probably one of the more unique features is the fact that the person does not pass away when you cut them. So you can remove their heart and keep it for yourself, or teleport them to a different location within the bubble. And this makes it extremely tough to beat Law, because he is a mastermind when it comes to being creative with this Devil Fruit, to the point that he is one of the most hated and avoided pirates among his peers. But I'd be scared too if I saw some of his new abilities, which grants him the power to add his room bubble around objects like his sword, and people who are trying to keep a distance away from him. So you're basically not safe regardless of your tactics. But it probably wouldn't be anything if Law wasn't smart, because the ability can quickly wear you out. So when you see him in battle, he is extremely tactical and balanced with his attacks. And this is why he was able to travel so far in the series. But his biggest flaw is not his power, it's actually his crew, which is made up of a lot of friends who aren't as powerful as him. And this is a giant liability in One Piece, because most crews are made up of at least 3 extremely powerful people. And traditionally, they complement the captain. Just look at Captain Kidd or somebody like Luffy, and you'd quickly understand why it's important. But it is worth pointing out that he is very aware of this, so he goes out of his way to keep them out of harm's way. And for a long time, it worked perfectly. But we all know that all great things come to an end. So if we're going to give this Devil Fruit a grade, I'd have to give it an A+, because it's extremely versatile and can change an average man into a god, which is something that everyone would have to admit that they love. Monkey D. Luffy is insanely strong with battle experience like no other. So it's perfect that he ended up with the Gomi no Mi. So today we'll be giving it a grade ranging from A to F. But first, we'll break down its abilities and evaluate the user. Now the first power granted by this Devil Fruit is the ability to make your body rubber-like, which throughout the series gave birth to some of the most unique attacks. This feature allows Luffy to stretch and inflate his body pretty far, and also lets him twist himself into positions that would normally destroy a person. But just when you thought that was all it offered, Luffy does the impossible and awakens the Devil Fruit, and we discover that it's actually the Shito no Mi model Nika, which granted him the ability to manipulate almost everything in nature. by giving it rubber-like properties. But this ability extends beyond him, because it also affects the surrounding area, which allows Luffy to nullify any blunt force and basically any attack that comes his way. But beyond that, it seems to make his imagination run free, which also allows the user to create most things that they can imagine. But all this would mean nothing if the Devil Fruit had a terrible user. But that is not the case when it comes to Monkey D. Luffy, because this is a hero driven on pure instincts. This is a man who could spot just how strong or weak you are, and regardless, he'd take you on. But one of his greatest assets is his creativity, which is on full display throughout the entire series. I mean, he has figured out a way to fly using his Devil Fruit powers. He has created a workaround to increase his strength dramatically, and has used his rubber features to give him godlike speed. And we haven't even talked about his amazing control of Haki, which he has uniquely infused into his Devil Fruit powers. So when it comes to giving this Devil Fruit a grade, we're going to give it an A+.